Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Ben Trygstad, who's a business insurance advisor with Trailstone Insurance Group. Ben, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you're welcome. I'm looking forward to learning from you about how you work to protect people who are business owners and entrepreneurs. So before we dive into that, give us a little bit of your background and what led you into the insurance industry.
Oh, great. More than happy. So I actually, before the insurance industry, I was in construction. I grew up in construction. And my sister was actually involved in insurance. She was working at an insurance advisory brokerage. And she told me that I should, try and become an insurance agent, to which I remember laughing in her face, basically promising I'm never going to be an insurance agent.
And you might have even said an insurance agent. I mean, that's just got such a, bad connotation to it, right?
It does. And I was in construction. So my understanding of insurance, anybody in insurance was what they call as loss control agents. And what loss control people do is they come on your job site. Mine were a suit and a hard hat, which they don't really align, and then a vest over the suit, which makes it always look funny.
You're just rocking that look really good, huh?
So that's what you see. And then they're telling you, kind of how to do your job in a safer environment. And they're like, you want to cut away from you. You want to have 3 points of contact on a ladder. And you just want to look at these guys, you shake their hands. You're like, you've never worked in the blue collar.
Yeah. You memorized that out of a textbook, didn't you?
Yeah. And so that's the only understanding really that I knew about insurance. So I remember telling her absolutely not, but she convinced me to meet her boss at the time. And so after about a year of actually talking with them and just trying to figure out about the insurance industry and what it really offers, that's when I decided to make the leap and was, learning from, just trying to drink water out of a fire hydrant with the whole insurance industry. But that was about 5 years ago now. And, ultimately, I don't think I'm going to look back.
So what did you find initially when you got into then that the industry that was really a stark difference? And you're like, you know what? I thought all those things, but wow, I love this and this and this.
Yeah, great question. So insurance, it changes the way that you think about things. I don't know if you've ever driven with an insurance agent, but they seem to drive a lot slower on the roads. They kind of change up their whole thought process. I like to say insurance underwriters, especially, they're professional warriors. Yeah. They're always thinking of what's the worst thing that can happen. And so that was something that's just, it changed up my mind there. But also I love talking with people. I love helping them with their needs. I believe that insurance is an important side of things. And, ultimately, when it comes to most business insurance policies, there's things that are lacking on those. So that's what I absolutely love is to, tell a client, listen, not only I saved you money, but I protected you from this, this, and this. Yeah. And if this instance were to occur, if this person was to get injured on the site, or, if this cyber attack was to happen or something like that, you know what, you're going to actually, be able to sleep at night knowing that that's covered properly. And so that's what I love about insurance. Yeah.
And, when you're mentioning, like accidents on the job, and I want to go deeper on some of those holes and gaps that you talk about. But how sometimes you hear these quote unquote salespeople that are like, well, if this happens and you're like, come on now, if a meteor drops out of the sky and hits your car, sure. And you're going, that's so obscure that could never happen. But you're mentioning things that it could actually happen. And these business owners are like, yeah, I heard my buddy down the road had that kind of thing happen. And you're going, I can protect with this. And I'll bet you that there's instances where you bring up some circumstances and they're like, I had never thought about that. So what are some of the things that when you're guiding these owners, because again, I get the feeling you're not a salesperson, right? You're not trying to put a square peg in a round hole and get her done. You're literally a consultant and you're trying to guide them to make a decision. When you're pointing some things out, what are some of the things that you've heard them say, you know what? I've never thought about that one. That's a great point.
That's a great question, and that's more than a 20-minute call, but I'm happy to talk about that though. But
we'll just pick one, and then we'll go deeper later.
Yeah, greatly. But I want to thank you for the first comment. At Trailstone, we always want to have the heart of a teacher, not high pressure salespeople trying to get you to say yes to what we're offering, right? Because we want a customized approach, and sometimes people are willing to take certain risks in their business to save on insurance, for the time being.
Yeah.
New business owners, they're more apt to take certain risks. But, when you've been in business 20 years, you actually want to do the opposite and protect the 20 years of investment that you've made into your business. And so we just understand that. And we want to just advise you. Ultimately, you're going to be the one purchasing the policy. But so there's tons of gaps on any insurance policy, right? Flood coverage is not a normal item that's covered on a average property insurance policy, right? Employees that are getting hurt on the workplace or is not covered on a general liability policy. You have to get a workers' comp policy for it. And even on a workers' comp policy, there's not necessarily coverage for one employee who injures another employee, out of spite. And so there's so many different gaps on those. And so it's just talking about what's important. And here's the other thing, Mike, with a business is such a broad spectrum. You'll have people who, like myself, were in the construction industry. You'll have people who are, like yourself, who you're at a desk every day, and you're talking with your clients. And
those coverages are totally different.
Those covers are totally different because you know what? The likelihood of you dropping a hammer on somebody's foot is pretty minimal, right? But let's say your business yourself, right? You say something to where somebody thinks that you offended or slandered their business, and they're suing you for that. That's a different coverages that you want to insure. And so what I always preach is we want a tailored policy. Yeah. We don't want, this just box that we just put you in and have that standard policy. The standard policy is, 60 pages or more. And the first lines of each policy is normally something along the lines of, it's your obligation as the consumer, as the person who's purchasing the policy, to buy this policy, but also read through the whole contract. And if you have any questions, reach out to the carrier. Now, I have insured a lot of clients over my insurance career, and I don't think I've had anyone that has read through an entire policy for that. And so that's really what Trailstone and myself really does is we're that advisor where we put those things into not layman's terms, but we put them into terms that are understandable for the business owner and unique for that business owner. So that's really my goal.
Well, that's awesome. And I could tell that just even from your tone and approach. And you mentioned heart of a teacher. So I want to tie that into the designation that you guys at Trailstone have with Dave Ramsey's organization. Oh, yeah. That's certainly not a let's pay a quick fee and check the box and get this. It is quite I don't know the detail, but I understand it is quite the rigorous. And they really, really, if you have that designation, it is quite an honor. So talk a little bit about that, because Dave Ramsey is the most trusted, thought leader in financial education. So to have his stamp of approval is a really big thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And ultimately, we're huge fans of Dave. Dave Ramsey is one of the most well-known financial advisors. And you know what? A lot of his information he's given out for free on the radio for, I would say at least the last 20 years. I don't know how long Dave Ramsey's been doing this. But yes, we are honored to be a Dave Ramsey endorsed agency. And I'm honored to be a Dave Ramsey endorsed local provider. And what really that just means is, just like Dave, has an interest in helping out his listeners, we have an interest in just helping out our clients, and that's by pretty much promising that we're going to have a heart of a teacher and just explain to them, what is covered. We're not going to try and sell you coverages that you don't need or never will use, and we're not going to try and cut coverages just because we're trying to beat your current policy by $1 or $2. And also what ties into that is really just treating others the way we want to be treated. Unfortunately, it's extremely easy to really stand out as an insurance agent just by treating people the way you want to be treated.
Isn't that a sad state of a sad state of affairs for the whole industry? If all you need to do to stand out is kind of do the right thing and be nice and return calls and treat, wow, that's pretty amazing.
It's unfortunate that's
I
a
know.
thing, but that's why, ultimately insurance has always had a bad taste or a bad rap in people's minds. And so what here at Trailstone, we're trying to change that. And the Dave Ramsey designation, that shield that he kind of gives us as the Ramsey trusted, that's really, really important to us. And we've really, really tried to protect that, especially with, the people who call in just because we are a Dave Ramsey endorsed provider.
Yeah, that's huge. So let's kind of shift gears into when you are working with a business owner and you're understanding what they need and you're guiding them through the process. And now you have all your facts and now you're ready to go and find the very best custom policy for them. Talk a little bit about, you don't want the lowest price out there. You want the most protection and coverage at the best value. So how does that work? And then also, are you able to kind of go to bat for your clients and kind of go, hey, we really want to place it here, but boy, we need to get that price down, or, because you've got several carriers that you can work with.
Right. Absolutely. So first things first, we work with, it's probably over 50 or 60 different insurance companies that are just on the commercial side. And that number grows every single day that as Trailstone grows. So that we do have a lot of companies that we work with. However, even inside those companies, most people don't know that there are a lot of discounts and rates and things simply by having a safety inspection manual or a safety program in place. Those things can actually drastically affect your rate. So even inside, if you're working with Travelers and you're talking with me, and Travelers is still the best place, we'll actually work with you and see how we can get some discounts and programs and things created in place to lower your insurance rate without even changing companies.
Wow.
And so that's something that we really, really focus on, especially because, we're huge believers. I don't know if you've heard the statement before, but an ounce of prevention beats a pound of cure.
Yeah.
And that is something that is so important for insurance, even if it didn't offer discounts. But there's a study that was done this last year where it said that for every dollar that was spent into safety or workplace safety or mitigation costs and things like that, $3 were on average for small businesses were returned for that efforts in small cost and hard costs, which also refers to the discount programs. And so since we're working with a lot of times it's small businesses, we actually, they don't have a whole HR department. And so we've been helping them get those programs and studies and things in place to really help them get those discounts that their current agent probably didn't even tell them that was offered and that they could be eligible for that. So that's a big thing that we help out with.
Kind of reminds me of on the personal auto side, like, oh, hey, you can get a discount if you get this app on your phone or you have direct deposit. Well, who would have thought? So that's why someone like yourself, you need to be relied on to go guide me.
Absolutely. So ultimately, the business owner, they are good at their craft. If they're a plumber, they're good at doing plumbing work in that blue collar industry and construction, right? If you're a tech guy, helping out with technology with companies, you're good at that craft. But we don't expect you to be amazing at insurance and know those discounts. Ultimately, that's our job. We are going to bat for you to make your insurance rate as low as possible, and then ultimately put policies and procedures in place to where a claim never happens.
Yeah. Well, am I correct in thinking that if you have a business policy, it's probably like a PDF stuck on your hard drive somewhere. Someone could email that to you. You could peruse through that, take some time, study it, and then get back to them and say, here's what some of my findings are.
Great question. And the answer with most agents is yes, absolutely. With us, we're actually going to say no, because here's the thing, Mike, is we want to understand what the business does. So yes, that can help. And most insurance agents, once they see that number, once they see that deck page, they'll go, you know what? I can get this lower rate with another carrier.
Yeah.
But we want to take a step back. We want to get the 10,000 foot view.
Yeah.
Because if you got a, nice plumbing policy, but you know what? People don't know that you manufacture a piece of pipe and sell that piece of manufacturing. Your policy has a huge gap in it.
Yes.
And if we're not doing our due diligence of understanding your business first, then we're just these people who are just trying to get you to say yes to a policy. And so ultimately, yes, that does help. Yes, that we always do free insurance evaluations like every other agency. But our first step
is to go to bat for you and make sure all of the right questions were asked, because your current deck page might not reflect all of
absolutely.
That. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's what we want to understand. We want to understand your business inside and out before even looking at insurance. And so that's normally the first step. I always say is a 20 to 30 minute phone call. And you know what? People are busy. Phone calls are hard, but it's such an important step to understand your business first.
Yep. I love that. And, I love that answer, because most people are like, oh yeah, I'll give you a second opinion and we'll see where we can. Well, Ben Trygstad might not have the full picture to give you then that good response. So I love that, that approach you guys take. So let's wrap up with this. If someone's hearing this going, you know what? Like his style, and let's see if I am, in the right policy, and let's get that quick call and see what potentially, gaps or savings or extra coverages could be done. What's the very best way someone could reach out and connect with you?
Great question, Mike. So I would say the best question, there's a page on Trailstone website. It's a bio. It says a little bit about me. It tells me your hobbies, or my hobbies, my family life, and things like that. It's also going to have a special link at the very top, which is schedule a meeting. You click on that schedule. It's going to open up all of my meeting times that we have. And like I said, the first step is understanding your business. And so it's going to have a 20 to 30 minute phone call schedule. And so you just click when you're free. It's going to add that to your, Google Calendar or Outlook calendar. It's going to add it to mine as well. And then that's when we're going to be able to reach out and contact each other. So you can always do that. Also, I believe, Mike, you can probably put in my email there. It's also going to be on that page, but that's, I would say, the best way to reach me.
Awesome. Well, Ben, it was really a great pleasure talking with you. I love your approach to business, and look forward to talking again soon.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.